these types of games, but you got to be proud the way your team fought, especially late in the ball game, down those 2 scores.
Yeah, that's the mark of this team this year is, there's never any give up. They don't lay down. They fight harder as the game goes. And we told them going into the fourth that that we were not out of it at all, and felt like that we were doing some things right. We moving the ball, we just didn't finish. We had interceptions or fumbles or what have you, but we were moving the ball up and down the field. And we felt like if some things went our way and we made some stops on defense that we could get right back in it. And that's what we told them in the fourth. And the kids' credit, they buy into that, and you just can't count this bunch out. They'll keep fighting the whole way. So you're into for a fight for 4 quarters.
Absolutely. C.J. Stryker, again, had a hand in all 3 of the Dragon touchdowns on Friday night. He will join us in the second segment here. But, Coach, I want to go back. Obviously, Heritage, you guys over the years have had a pretty good series with those guys. They're a team that, for whatever reason, every time you guys play, no matter how good, either team is, man, it always seems to be that game that just kind of comes down to the end. Don't know if they play a similar style or what have you, but it's one of those that typically just kind of goes back and forth, and we saw that again this week.
Yeah, just in the short time I've been here, it's been a game that you don't take for granted, and you're going to be in a war for 4 quarters, and this past week was no exception. They're a well-coached football team, have similar players to what we have, and they get after it and are very sound in their schemes, and so you're gonna be in 4 quarters of football with them. There's never an easy game, hardly.
Absolutely. 21-20, the final there. Again, the Dragons just short on Friday night, but as we're going to talk about in the next segment, it's kind of created a logjam again atop the region standings, really anyone's region right now, because there are 4 teams that have 1 region loss. Of course, the Dragons are one of them, so still very much up in the air, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. RJ, what was your perspective Friday night? I know you always cover the Dragons. What did you see down there?
A lot like what Coach said. They fought till the end in that fourth quarter. They were down a couple of scores going into that fourth quarter. They're like, we're not going to quit, and they busted it. They made plays on both offense and defense to get back into that game. It's just an unfortunate way to have that end, but they were in it all the way, and hopefully on Friday they can get back into the win column.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of fight out of the Dragons. Northwest Whitfield comes to town. Again, that one coming up in our second segment. I do want to welcome Coach Seth Deering, the linebackers coach, with us right here on the program this week. First appearance. I know you guys are rotating out a little bit, so guess what? It's your week, man. Congratulations.
Oh, I'm excited.
But first year here, obviously, at Pickens. I thought I recognized you from Cherokee County, moving up the road a little bit from a Creekview program that's had a lot of success. How's that transition been? Obviously, you've known Coach Nelson for quite a while. Talk about your guys and your position group and how your guys have played this year for you.
Okay, yeah, so having the linebackers here has been a blast. These guys work really hard. I know coming in, it's all new guys coming in this year. They lost the 3 linebackers from last year, but these guys, they're tough. Right now we're a little banged up, but there's no complaining. They want to come out, they want to play, and it's been exciting. It's been fun. Absolutely. Definitely a change of pace.
Here you go. You got guys that fly around, and that's the one thing I think that I see is, you love when those linebackers can go sideline to sideline to make plays and use their athleticism. Talk a little bit about your group and who you got over there, who you've been working with specifically.
Yeah, so at our strong side, we have TC. TC, he's probably one of the leaders right now. He goes out there, he makes plays game after game. A little banged up, but he just keeps on going. He's not slowing down. At our Mike backer, all right, we're playing 2 guys right now, Hunter Weaver and Dylan Arp. They're both playing Mike, and they're doing a good job. It's been a little bit hard for them because it's their first time being at Mike.
Right.
So they're having a hard time getting those reads down, but every week they're getting better and doing all right there. On our other side, we have Alex Snellgrove coming back. So he's the one that had some playing time last year. So he's kind of the one that kind of pushes everybody else's buttons and makes sure they're lining up right. Again, all of them are the same as far as wanting to play, wanting to compete, going out there and doing their job. Very proud of this group.
Absolutely. They've been working hard. And speaking of that group, I want to talk now. RJ, again, the Team FYN Sports Writer Player of the Week comes from the linebacking core this week, although he plays on both sides of the ball, and I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, I picked Alex Snellgrove for Player of the Week this week. He did great things on both sides of the ball last Friday. Caught a 23-yard touchdown pass from CJ, and he made several tackles on defense. He had a pass breakup, and he's senior, and he's one of those leaders that they need for a younger team. And he always cheers up his teammates on the sidelines when he's not in. He always coaches them up when he's not in, helps them out, and he does a great job.
Yeah, and I like something that you wrote that I like is he's kind of a disruptor on defense. You know, he's a guy that just makes a lot of disrupting plays, if you will, for opposing offenses. He's definitely a guy that can fly around, of course, as Coach Deering said. I want to bring in our players here at the end of the table, man. And, man, I like the contrast in the color, man. We got some bright colors going on down there. Again, Andrew and Grayson with us here in the first segment. And, Andrew, again, welcome back. Talk a little bit about your play this year, the play of this team. I know, obviously, you fell a little bit short Friday night, but there's still plenty of football left to be played. How's the attitude of the team, you know, going into this week's game against Northwest Whitfield?
Oh, everyone's focused, want to get better. They never give up. And everyone just wants to have the best, and everyone has each other's backs. They just want to do the best for the whole team.
Yeah, seems like this team's really come together. Y'all got some good upper class leadership. What do you feel like your role is specifically on this team? Like, what is it that you feel like you bring individually to this team every day when you show up?
Oh, I just try to make practices fun. You know, make sure everyone works hard and everyone competes.
Yeah, got to have that accountability, right? Got to make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Grayson, obviously, you're part of this program, man. Talk about, you know, being out there, what it's like on Friday night, the atmosphere. I mean, what are some things that you think about, you know, week in and week out being part of this team?
I really get a strong feel of family, and the fact that when we're down, like we did Friday, we can come back. And even though we fell short, the drive was there, and it would have definitely been a game had we been there the entire game.
Right, absolutely. It's about putting together 4 complete quarters, right, and being there. You know, we were joking around before we came on the air, and I was, you know, trying to prep these guys as to what I was going to ask them, and I was saying, you know, what's it like, you know, when the cheerleaders are yelling your name and all this sort of stuff, just joking around, right? And RJ said, no, that actually happens. Like, the student section is saying, you know, we want Grayson, you know, and so how does it feel, man, when you hear your name being tossed around like that on Friday night, coming from the stands or, you know, from your fellow classmates or whatever, man? That's got to make you feel pretty good.
Yeah, it feels really good. I like the fact that I don't always go unnoticed, even though I don't really play much. It really puts a little pep in my step, especially when we're down and I hear that. It's a great motivator.
Yeah. And you mentioned the word family. I mean, I think that's what it's all about, man. The Dragon family is strong, and it's awesome that you guys are part of the program the way you are and everything. Coach, you know, obviously, and we don't like to single out a lot of players because it is a team game, and we try to stay away from that, but especially with these guys here at the table right now, I mean, what have they meant to the program, and especially a guy like Grayson who kind of does a little bit of everything for you guys?
Yeah, I think like Grayson said, it's all part of just being a family. We like, you know, we love all these guys coming in, and you know, we got guys that play a lot and those that don't play as much, but every kid contributes, and Grayson certainly does that in many capacities. You know, we've you know, been thrilled to have him on the team, and you know, excited for, you know, he's actually helping us with some postseason stuff him and I talked about. So you know, he's always, you know, been there. He comes and helps the younger kids. He runs the scoreboard for the junior high and stuff like that. So he's a big part of what we do.
Absolutely. I know we've had some middle school championships and some other things that have happened in the stadium here over the last week or so. And so it's always exciting to kind of see Dragon football as a brand, you know, and it's not just the high school team. It's all the way from the youth all the way up, K through 12. And that's an awesome thing to see. Again, you know, looking forward to next week. Obviously, Northwest Whitfield, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Who stood out? Anyone else, since we're kind of on the individual part of it, any players that maybe we haven't talked a lot about this year on the show that may have stepped up Friday night and had a big game?
Well, you know, having Andrew here tonight is a young man who's kind of bounced around from several positions for us, both offensively and defensively. And he's found a home at the corner position, and his aggressiveness coming downhill and making plays on the quick screens, and actually jumping back into coverage and running with some of these guys. He's just gotten better and better each week. So he kind of stood out at that corner position. So it was one of the guys that we were real pleased with in the effort Friday night.
Yeah, Andrew, playing DB, especially playing corner. I mean, you're kind of on an island by yourself a lot of times. It's like if a defensive tackle misses, play at the line of scrimmage, got the backers there maybe to pick them up a little bit. It's not as noticeable, but as a DB, you mess up, you get burned. Everybody in the stadium knows it, right? So you're kind of on that island. Talk about that position and the challenges that come with being a corner. Because you got run support too. I mean, you got a kind of a dual responsibility there, right?
Yes, it's tough, but you just got to work hard and never give up on a play, because everyone sees you. And if you just give up, then the whole team sees that and just brings everyone down. But if you get a last second tackle, then it's anything can happen from there.
Right, yeah. Or there's pick six or something like that, man. Turn the whole game around at that point there. So are you like the lockdown corner, man? I mean, is that your thing? They put you on the other team's best receiver, right? Isn't that how that works?
Yeah, I hope.
There you go. Good stuff. Obviously, the Dragons, again, getting ready for another big game, a big test this week against Northwest Whitfield. And on the other side of the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about that ball game, but we do want to thank our players, Andrew Burrell and Grayson Bradford, for being right here with us in this first segment. Coaches are going to stay with us in the second segment. We'll welcome two more players. We appreciate you guys being with us right here. Do want to thank all of our sponsors, and we encourage you to follow Team FYN Sports on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We'll be back with more of this week's Pickens Power Half Hour Dragon Talk right here on Team FYN Sports. Stay with us.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and Ellen, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
Hi everyone, Dave Garner here. You might know me as a regular contributor to Team FYN Sports and the Instant Replay, but did you know I'm also your local Woodman Life representative? My job is to make sure that families are protected through needs-based life insurance and retirement. I want to make sure that you leave your loved ones with memories, not expenses. Call me today to find out how I can help you to not outlive your money
and that your money outlives you. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
I'm Jeff Riblett, President of Asset Protection Group. As a certified financial planner and with 20 years experience, I've helped thousands of families and business owners create a tremendous amount of wealth. Fortunately, most of that wealth has been protected. Don't allow an unforeseen life event, such as a nursing home stay or the next market meltdown, destroy your family's wealth. Be smart. Call me. Let's determine how best to protect your assets and preserve your wealth.
And once again, we welcome you back to this week's edition of Dragon Talk. I'm your host, Dave Garner, alongside RJ Casey, my co-host, head coach Jeff Nelson joining us right here, assistant coach Seth Deering with us, and two new players. We've got CJ Stryker with us and Chase Nelson joining us here in segment number 2. Thanks for being on the program again, guys. A couple of repeat offenders here this week on the program there. We do want to thank all the folks at Johnny's Pizza for providing our players and coaches with the pregame meal here tonight. We appreciate everything that they do, and really, again, the show's possible because of our sponsors and also our Team FYN Sports sponsors as well, and we do appreciate everyone jumping on board. All right, first segment, we were talking, Coach, about the game obviously last Friday, but that's one obviously you got to put behind you, heartbreaking loss right at the end. Now you can turn our attention to Northwest Whitfield, a team that comes in, 5-1 overall, 2-0 in the region right now. Obviously a big test for you guys back home this week.
That's right. Again, very similar football team to Heritage. Tough kids, play hard, and we've battled with them every year that I've been here. And they're a tough, well coached team. So it's gonna be a tough game for us. But again, we're our kids are playing hard, and so get the brakes roll the other way.
There we go.
I think we'll be fine. We just need to play 4 quarters of football, and like we've been saying, and mistake-free football.
Right.
So.
Yep. 37-20. Again, Northwest Whitfield a winner over Lafayette on Friday night. Gavin Ellis with 3 rushing touchdowns there. They distribute the ball pretty well. A little bit banged up. I know they were playing some different guys, and I'm not sure how healthy they'll be, obviously, this week. But I know, obviously, for the Dragons, they're just focused on themselves and not too awful worried about that. I guess it's a situation where you control what you control, and they certainly pose a lot of challenges because they always have great athletes. But anything in particular that they do that you guys have noticed, maybe anything different from the past, or is it pretty much that typical strong team?
No, it's the same team. They run a lot of zone, and they just run right at you, right downhill. They got 2 decent running backs that run hard behind their pads. And if you don't wrap up and run your feet, they're going to run through you.
Right.
So they're tough. Quarterback's a young kid, a freshman, but he looks like a good sized kid and throws the ball well and manages the game real well. So offensively, they're going to give us a good game all night. They're not going to back down at all, and the offensive line's pretty good and well coached and get off the ball. Defensively, they've got nose guard is tough, a couple good linebackers, and one of the receivers, number 5, also plays DB. He's a good ball player. So they're just a good physical team up front. Very much like the one we saw last week, and we all fit in that same mold this year. So.
Yeah. There we go. Time now for this week's RJ Casey question of the week. So here we go, folks. Now, CJ might have one too down at the end of the table. We're joking about that earlier this season. We didn't have RJ for that first episode. CJ had a question. So if you've got one down there, be ready, because we'll throw one to whoever as well. So, but we're going to let RJ go right now. And RJ, again, who's your question for this week?
Oh, well, my question will go to CJ.
All right, here we go.
Being the quarterback, Coach Nelson talked a little bit about Northwest defense. I believe a few weeks ago when they beat Ridgeland, they held them to 6 yards rushing the whole game. And being a good defense like they have, what have you seen from them on film studying this week so far?
Yeah, I mean, they're a great team. They always have been. They give us a game every year. On defense, they have the big nose guard who moves the line well, and then their linebackers and everybody on their defense really flows to the ball well and stops everything before it gets going.
Okay. All right. Good question. Good answer. You got a question for RJ or anyone else?
No.
You're good this week? You're going to lay off them? That's good. That's good. Since we're on to the players now, again, I do want to bring Chase in as well. Let's talk a little bit about your play this year and obviously Northwest and what kind of challenge they pose. What are you looking for out of this game on Friday night?
Well, they're very well coached. They move the ball around a lot. They do a lot of motion, trying to catch off guard. So just keeping on our read keys on defense and just staying with our man.
There you go. Keep everything in front and obviously working that. Coach Deering, how about the linebackers? I mean, obviously they're, offensive line, as Coach Nelson was saying. I mean, they play well up front. They move the ball around. A lot of different things that they do over there. So how do you prepare for that?
Yeah, they're definitely have a challenge. The quarterback, again, he's a young guy, but he's a good runner. Doesn't like to take off a lot, but when he does, it counts. So when they're doing all those zones and that, we have to make sure we're ready for the running back coming through, and we also have to be ready for the quarterback to keep that ball. So we've been doing a lot of that in practice. Been working a lot on zone. Also, number 5's he's a good player. Right. So we have to know where he's at all times. Make sure if he's trying to come across the middle or something, linebacker's going to put hands on him.
Right.
All right, try to slow him down and disrupt him as much as we can, but we're getting ready.
Right.
We're prepared for it.
Do y'all do a lot of, and I'm just asking this because I don't know, do y'all do a lot of ones versus ones versus twos in practice at this point in the season, or is that more preseason type base?
That's pretty early. When you get this far along, you start kind of backing off on some of that and trying to, especially the last 2 years, because we have an early bye week and then we don't have another one till the end.
Yeah. Right.
And so, in between that, you're straight week to week, and you got to heal up each week. So we kind of back off on the ones, the best versus best, or ones versus ones, as that we can, and at the same time we're trying to mimic the game as much as possible by thudding up, not taking kids to the ground. Those are where you usually get your injuries. Is not the initial hit, but when the player is taken to the ground. So we try to limit that and not do that much at all. And the longer the season goes, the less we do that. And a lot more, I wouldn't say walkthroughs, but more just what we call on defense thudding up.
Yeah.
Where we hit runner feet and everybody gets to the ball and kind of works on that pursuit angle, but not as much taken to the ground.
Right. And where I was getting at with that was I didn't know how much pressure you brought against this guy in practice, trying to throw him off his mark a little bit from those backers, maybe a little bit of pressure right there. No, I know obviously they're laying off each other, saving it for the game on Friday night there for sure. But, again, talking about the game, talking about the season as a whole, I mean, here you guys are now, coming into this ball game and, basically halfway through, game over, I guess, into the season. CJ, where do you, as far as like a mid-season report card, if you will, I guess, of the team in general, I mean, where are some of the areas you guys feel like you need to improve moving forward in order to get the wins coming?
I mean, I personally think we're a couple plays away each game of being 7-0. I mean, all of our games, we're really hurting ourselves. So if we can clean that up and clean up the penalties and the personal fouls and the missed assignments, I think, and we can put together a complete game, I think we'll show you what we're fully capable of.
Right. Talk about, we talk about the other guys. I mean, obviously Alex Snellgrove voted this week's, Sports Writer Player of the Week. He's been big as, on the other end of a lot of your passes. Jared Whitmore obviously had one on Friday night as well. Talk about the guys that you're distributing the ball to and how they've been able to step up this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really lucky to have some really good guys around me that can make plays. So, I mean, I have the easy job. I just have to get them the ball and let them do their thing.
There you go. You've done a good job of that as well. Chase, how about you, especially defensively on your side of the ball? Talk about where you guys are at as a unit right now and where you hope to be moving forward.
Well, we've shown flashes of being really good. There's just some plays, third and long, we haven't, we've come up short, given up some big plays, but we're right there to being a really good defense. We just got to kind of come together and, same thing as just getting rid of the mistakes.
Absolutely. Big game again Friday night against Northwest Whitfield here at Dragon Stadium. And we encourage everyone to get out and support the Dragons. Again, a local ball game on Friday night. But we always talk to the players and the coaches about, the fans and whether or not they hear it or not. And some guys kind of, they're really focused in. But a lot of these players, man, they feel that momentum. I guess they feel that running out there. And, not everybody has their name chanted like Grayson over there, every week. But these guys do know you're there. So again, please make every effort to be out here on Friday night and support the Dragons. Guys, thanks for being with us. Coach, good luck. Looking forward to talking about a Dragon win next week.
Sounds good.
There we go. That's going to wrap things up for this week's edition of Dragon Talk. We appreciate you guys being with us. Want to encourage you to follow Team FYN Sports on Twitter on Friday nights for highlights and scores. Also, our YouTube channel, FYN TV, Fetch Your News, Playlist Pickens, Power Half Hour / Dragon Talk. I know that's a mouthful, but you'll find it if you go on YouTube. Catch the instant replay also Monday mornings live at 10:10 a.m. with Lauren Hunter, who is actually off camera here tonight, but she's with us in the building. She's responsible for getting all the food here as well, so she had the most important job tonight. Doing a great job, though, with FYNTV.com and on the Team FYN Sports Facebook page. You can catch that instant replay. Also, look for this guy right here, RJ Casey. He'll be on the sideline Friday night, right?
I will be.
Okay,
Yes.
I'd be disappointed if you weren't. So he's going to be there as well, and we hope to see you in the stands. Team FYN Sports, again, always highlighting and promoting student athletes in a positive way. Until next week, I'm your host, Dave Garner, saying so long, everyone. We'll see you next week for another edition of Dragon Talk.